Republican Representative John Fleming and Democratic Representative Earl Blumenauer went at it in Congress over marijuana.
Gentleman from Louisiana is recognized for 1 minute.
I think my friend, Chairman, as a practicing physician, a veteran myself, the way we approach health care is not to just allow any health care provider to do whatever he or she wants to do at the time. That's simply not the way health care works. So let's look specifically at the problem PTSD, which is one of the worst problems that we're dealing with today among veterans. What have we found just in the last year? That smoking pot increases the psychotic episodes by a factor of 2 to 4 times normal. The conversion to schizophrenia, a permanent mental disorder, is enhanced by pot by a factor of 2, double. So why in the world would we give a drug that is addictive, that is prohibited as Schedule I, that is not accepted for any specific medical disease or disorder, and it enhances psychosis and schizophrenia? Why are we going to give that to our veterans, especially those with PTSD? That is just absolutely insane. And with that, I yield back and think.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Pennsylvania's time has expired. The gentleman from Oregon is recognized.
Thank you. First, it isn't just PTSD that medical marijuana is used for. There's a whole host of other conditions that were available. Second, the medical marijuana train has left the station. 1 million Americans have a legal right to use medical marijuana, and they do so. You want to treat veterans differently. Third, medical marijuana is nowhere near as addictive as what is happening to our veterans right now. Veterans seen by agency doctors are dying from prescription drug overdoses, nearly twice the national average. Nobody dies from an overdose of marijuana. And the VA doctors prescribe significantly more opiates that are highly addictive to patients with PTSD and depression than other veterans, even though those people suffering those conditions are more at risk of overdose and suicide. Get your facts straight. I'm happy to do more research. I have work coming forward, but in the meantime, don't treat these veterans as second-class citizens. If you want to be concerned about the explosion of addictive drugs that are being prescribed to people who we should be giving more care. Thank you.
As Shaq says on NBA on TNT, barbecue chicken right there. Oh, that dude just handed your ass right back to you. The Republicans are so embarrassing because when they go up there, it's not even like they went to the New England Journal of Medicine or some Columbia Journal and they took some information and they're quoting it. They just go up there and they're like, I heard that smoking pot makes you crazy. Is that science? It's science now because I said it. It makes you crazy. I don't like pot, so ban it. You guys are so fucking embarrassing. At least come up with somewhat plausible bullshit. But they don't. They're still stuck in the reefer madness era. He said, quote, smoking pot increases psychotic episodes. Says who? Notice, no source. No source because he doesn't have a source because he's pulling it out of his ass. I heard from my grandma when I was a kid that this is what's going to happen if I smoke weed. Pot leads to, quote, a conversion to schizophrenia? What are you saying? Earl Blumenauer was like waiting, just like, come on, let me respond. Just fucking crazy person talking. Here's my radical idea. You ready for this? Why not listen to the veterans themselves? How about that? Now, are there going to be plenty of veterans that say, look, weed's not my drug, I don't like it, it doesn't make me feel better. In fact, I feel more anxious when I smoke it. Sure, I'm sure there's some that are like that, and guess what? They won't smoke weed then. But are there some who absolutely swear by it, and they say, look, this is the only thing that makes me feel better? I've had people who listen to the show, not veterans necessarily, but people who listen to the show who've reached out to me and they say, look, you know, I've had depression for this really long time or anxiety for a really long time. I was on SSRIs, which is antidepressants. I was on these other things. None of that worked. The only thing that keeps me sane is marijuana. So what are you really going to be as arrogant to look these people in the eye and say, I'm going to take away the one thing that makes you feel better. That's what I'm going to do as a Republican politician. But do you not realize that that's what makes you a bad person? I mean, if the term bad person means anything, it's that. It's somebody who would go up to somebody who's suffering and they found the cure, and you say, thanks, I'm going to take that away for ideological political reasons. Because of my own opinion on the matter, I'm going to take that away from you. Okay, well then you're a bad person. I don't know what else you want me to say here. That's pretty obvious. Now, the most important thing here, and Earl Blumenauer pointed out at the end, prescription painkillers, for those of you who don't know at this late time, it's synthetic heroin. Let me repeat that. Prescription painkillers is synthetic heroin. Now, obviously, it depends on what kind you get. Some are basically synthetic morphine, but morphine and heroin are very similar as well. There's only a slight difference, and once it gets in the body, it reacts the same way, so it is effectively the same drug. But when you're dealing with opiates and opioids, when you're dealing with Vicodin and Percocet and OxyContin and oxycodone and all these different pills, it's synthetic heroin. Now, maybe a smaller dose of it, but you remember when people get addicted to this stuff and they take a lot of it, as many veterans unfortunately have, they can pop up to 30 pills a day. Rush Limbaugh was taking 30 OxyContin a day. 30! He was basically getting a heroin high from pills. That's what he was doing. So this idea that, like, get these veterans off the weed and then give them the prescription painkillers, those are better. That's a dumb idea. It's a bad idea. And believe you're taking this from somebody here who I prefer the high from a pain pill and from an opiate compared to marijuana. I'm on team pain pill. I like that feeling a lot better. But guess what? Objectively speaking, people do overdose when they take too many pain pills. People don't overdose when they smoke too much weed. You can't do it. So you got to be willing to be objective about this stuff. But then here comes the final point. Why do you think this guy is so amazingly anti-marijuana, but he's got nothing to say about SSRIs or antipsychotic drugs like Seroquel and Thorazine or pain pills, OxyContin, oxycodone, and stuff like that? Now, believe me, it's certainly a big chunk of it is ideology. I really think this guy believes what he's saying. He probably bought into the reefer madness nonsense, as many old school people have, right? But another big part of it is these people take money from the pharmaceutical companies. They take money from the medical establishment right now. And the medical establishment right now views marijuana as competition. And that's going to cut into their profits. So they want to fearmonger about that as much as they can and stop it from becoming legalized for medicinal uses and other uses in different states all around the U.S. That's the problem. And Earl Blumenauer absolutely schooled John Fleming.